Alright, greetings ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cargos, and this is a video I've been wanting to make for a long time, but every time I start making it, I just kind of get overwhelmed and give up. But I'm just gonna fucking send it right now, and I don't know if anyone cares to even learn about this stuff, but sometimes I just try to make sense of the past decade of my life, and you know, I put some of my best years into this game, Vanilla WoW, my favorite game of all time. And you know, sometimes I feel like I regret it, sometimes I feel like it was, you know, an awesome adventure, an awesome experience. And I just try to think back on our roots with Vanilla WoW and Classic, and like when I felt most invested in all of it, and just like my career as a creator when I was really active and stuff like that. So I just have Adobe Illustrator up right now. I'm just trying to make sense of everything. I'm using like ChatGPT and just putting questions out into the void, seeing what it comes back with to try to make sense of all of it. So I don't know if you guys enjoy this type of stuff. Leave a comment below if you do. I don't know if any of you guys left. We're here for all this, but I'm an old crusty relic of this game. I just wanted to make sense of it all. So I'm here to you know, show you a brief annotated history of private servers from my perspective, and you know, what each server meant to me, what I played at the time, and just trying to, like, you know, leading up to where we are today. Because I should just preface this by saying, like, you know, for many of us, it's hard to believe, because I feel like most people playing Classic now, you know, for them Classic was just a given. Like, of course Blizzard would make Classic, you know, it's big money, legacy game, it makes a lot of sense, but it wasn't always that way, actually. For many years, the thought of official supported legacy servers, they didn't call it Classic at the time, it was just called legacy servers. It was what the community referred to them. It was just a pipe dream. You know, no one thought it would ever happen. And that was always the raging conversation in world chat or whatever, just talking about, you know, will Blizzard ever do it? Maybe this is the year at BlizzCon, and then every year you'd get disappointed. But that was always like the raging thread that would be being discussed. And then it finally happened, right? But this, especially the private server days before Classic came out, when I think back on things, that's actually really the time where I was most invested in Vanilla and really feeling like I was part of like an up and coming, like, grassroots community. There was something to fight for. I was just really locked in and excited with it, and that's, you know, partially due to how my brain is wired, but it's also, you know, it's just that's the vibe when you're the underdog and you're building something up, and it feels like you're part of this underground type of thing. So here we go, guys. I did not play Fenix WoW, but it's the oldest server that when I talk to the old head private server players, it's the first one they always mention. And there's not really a hard date. When I put it into ChatGPT to try to find out the launch date of Fenix WoW, they just said it launched in the early 2010s, which is so long ago at this point, right? And I look back through Hamster Wheels videos and some of the OG creators, and like I see stuff going back to 2013, 2012. So we're just going to earmark it at 2012. Fenix WoW, set realmless server.wowphoenix.net. If you played Fenix WoW, maybe you have some more information on that, and maybe this video can serve as kind of a living document where we can just like try to make sense of all this, right? Comment down below your experience playing on these servers, what these servers meant to you, etc., etc. So really, when I started to get back into Vanilla, it was after Warlords of Draenor came out. So I actually was kind of hyped going into Warlords of Draenor, I'm not going to lie to you. I just remember like Chris Metzen doing his thing at BlizzCon and hyping it all up, and it almost felt like they were going back to their roots a bit with some of the old like Orcish war chiefs and all this type of shit. And like, I was pretty hyped going into Draenor, and you know, I was having a good time, like even with the little farm and stuff like that. Like you know, the wind got taken out of my sails kind of quickly, I guess. But you know, I was mythic raiding. I was doing like high mall, so it was like, I think that was just the first raid of the expansion. But I was kind of having a good time. I was starting to make some like videos too on my YouTube channel, like you know, BM, like Beast Mastery, like one shot pet videos, and I was vibing in Warlords of Draenor. But I came across videos and podcasts from some of the early days creators, and I've talked about this a lot on stream before, and everybody has their own way, right? If you've made content or whatever, like, you know, you have those people that inspired you to kind of get into it, right? And you like picked up on the vibes and it drew you in. And for me, it was these guys, and there's some other ones too that I might be forgetting as well, you know. But you know, Mr. GM, Alex, Dodgy Kebab, Orcbit, Def Camp Melderon, Muffin Man was coming out with like private server, like meme funny news videos and stuff like that. But I would just listen to guides endlessly and podcasts. They had this podcast back then called Private Chat. Mr. GM used to do private server reviews on all these different wonky private servers that would come out. And I got sucked in. I don't really know how or when or why, but I remember, like, you know, at the time, just being in Subway or Chipotle or wherever I was eating at the time, and just being so like fascinated by these videos, and just like I hadn't even thought of playing vanilla, and it was just such a strong pull, and it looked so good. And that's when I got introduced to Nostalrius. So I wasn't there right on Nost launch. I started playing after, started leveling an Orc Hunter. But Nostalrius launched February 28th, 2015. Warlords of Draenor launched November 13, 2014. It was the 5th expansion for WoW, introducing garrisons, new character models, and the alternate timeline version of Draenor as the main setting. So Nostalrius launched in Vanilla WoW private server on February 28, 2015. It quickly became the most popular private server for World of Warcraft, offering Blizz-like 1x experience for both PvP and PvE. So I have ChatGPT up right now, and this is kind of like how it all started. And like, I'm really freestyling the shit. There's really, I mean, you can see my exact, like, you know, train of thought here as I'm scrolling up through everything I was typing. It started with me just asking. I was just curious, like, you know, when did Elysium come out? Because that's a server that means a lot to me, and we'll get into that. But pretty much, this is where the rabbit hole started. All the prompts, I started asking ChatGPT stuff, and I was kind of amazed, like, yo, ChatGPT actually knows about the Vanilla WoW private servers. Like, this is crazy, man. Maybe I can kind of make sense of all this. So I mean, we can ask it another question here and see what it says, but let me type in, why was Nostalrius such an important realm in the development of the Vanilla WoW private server scene? From my perspective, I think it was just one of the first ones that got a lot of popularity. Like, it was 1x. They really tried to be Blizz-like. They weren't greedy with the monetization. The servers weren't perfect. Like, if I remember correctly, like, there was a lot of, like, you know, problems with them, like, going down, and they weren't like perfectly scripted servers or anything like that. But here, let's see what it says. Nostalrius played a pivotal role in shaping the Vanilla WoW private server scene in the eventual release of WoW Classic by Blizzard. Here's why it's so important. Quality and authenticity. Nostalrius offered one of the most Blizz-like experiences of any private servers at the time. It had 1x experience rates, highly accurate scripting for raids, players able to experience content exactly as it was in 2004. Massive popularity. Nostalrius quickly became the most popular vanilla private server with 150,000 registered accounts and 10,000 plus concurrent players. The size and active player base of Nostalrius made it a major force in the vanilla private server community, eclipsing many of the servers that existed at the time. And here's the other part, right? And I was going to get into this, the shutdown and backlash. So in April 2016, Blizzard issued a cease and desist letter to shut down Nostalrius. The server was forced offline on April 10, 2016. So my understanding at the time is, like, the Nost forums were very popular, and people were posting there a lot, myself included. And it was based out of France, which, you know, was kind of like part of their issue, and why Blizzard was able to kind of like connect with them and force them to shut down. This caused outrage within the community as players had poured hundreds of hours into the game. And I remember this pretty vividly. They put out a statement saying that they were going to have to shut down, but they got flown out to Blizzard, right, to like go meet with them. And then they put this post out saying, like, you know, maybe somebody can link the actual post down below, but that they were respecting Blizzard's wishes, and people were pissed. And I myself wrote a really cringe post, pissed about it as well. And I, you know, I definitely don't think that, you know, aged well, but that was really the consensus at the time. The community, then later they ended up becoming like the heroes of the Vanilla WoW scene, right? The community's reaction was intense, with over 280,000 signatures on a petition asking Blizzard to create official vanilla servers. This was a petition started by Mark Kern. The shutdown sparked a massive conversation within the WoW community and among content creators, highlighting the demand for legacy servers. This led to greater awareness of the private server scene, which had existed for years now, but gained mainstream attention. So it goes on and on and on. But let's go back to this like illustrated document. So during this time with Nost out, like, I was getting sucked into the culture and the vibes and that grassroots feeling of, these people seemed like such cool people and decent human beings, and like my type of gamer, my cup of tea. And I was really sucked in and attached to these people, and I wanted to participate too. I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, and I wanted to try to promote vanilla and get it out there. And that was really where it all started for me. And sometimes I go back and watch these videos, and, you know, just for nostalgic reasons, and just remember all of it. You know, I still remember the first time I reached out to Def Camp in Melderon, and touch base with them, and like, you know, got to know them, and they're just amazing human beings, right? First time I talked with, I did get to talk with all these people, and believe it or not, they're small creators, but they were kind of like my heroes at the time. And I was, you know, I was just stoked to be able to like meet with them, right? So played Nostalrius. I wasn't really like sweaty on Nostalrius. I wasn't ultra successful. I leveled an Orc Hunter, and I also played Chronos 2. I'm not sure if I played Chronos 1 or Chronos 2. I feel like I played Chronos 2. I didn't realize that Chronos 1 came out after Nost. I could have sworn it was out before Nost because Chronos 2 came out shortly after. But yeah, so February 28, 2015, Nost launch. March 28, Chronos 1 launch. This is according to ChatGPT. Maybe ChatGPT is wrong. Chronos 2 launches April 30, 2016. So this must have been like an overflow server. Like maybe this one was really popping and like they just launched another one. So I did play Chronos 2 as well. I had an Orc Hunter on there as well. And yeah, like at this point, like I'm just already, like since Nostalrius, I'm like full-time vanilla gaming. Like I'm in love with the game. I am reconnected and locked in with WoW in a way that I hadn't been in years. And you know, my history with the game, most of you probably know, but I did play since 2004. I was in middle school. I was in like 6th or 7th grade. It was winter break. I had just, you know, met with one of my parents' family friends from church, and I saw my parents' family friend's older brother playing WoW, and I was just like fascinated watching him, you know, and like just, oh shit, I gotta play this game. It looks so good. So out of my friend group, I went out to EB Games at the time, bought it, you know, with my own money, and got the little card for the subscription, and I rolled a Torn Warrior on the Elysium realm, not knowing anything about this game, and that's where it all started for me. Winter break 2004. Anyway, this was really the first server that I went like really sweaty on. Was the Elysium project. So the Elysium had 2 servers. I forgot what the first one was called. It might have just been called Elysium, but my understanding of this is pretty much they took Nostalrius's core and like data, and like they had Nostalrius's support, and Nostalrius was like coming back in theory, and like they had saved all the character data, and Elysium was the new you know, they were the new custodians of all this data, and people were absolutely, you know, stoked about it. And this is what I'm really trying to convey. Like I'm just trying to cast my mind back there and the vibes. Like, so Elysium launched December 19, 2016. Okay. WoW Classic was announced BlizzCon November 2017, right? So this is a full year before, but already for those of you who played, you might remember the vibes were like really strong, dude. It felt like something was building. It felt like it was gonna pop. There was this energy and fervor and like momentum, and it's hard to exactly know why. I guess the petition had probably already been out. Somebody, you know, chime in down below in the comments if that's right, if the petition was already out from Mark Kern when Elysium came out. Again, like I should research all this stuff, but I'm kind of just like freestyling it with you guys right now. Elysium was hype, and I remember the stress tests for it. I remember watching Alex's stream, and he had thousands of people watching him around like he was like Asmongold, pretty much just running around next to him. I remember Orcbit, Def Camp Elderon, everybody did multiple stress tests for Elysium. The hype was outrageous, and it was amazing, man. And the first Elysium, Grizzly played on that server, and I played Elysium when it first came out, and I was with my friend group from high school, and I hadn't played WoW with them in years, and they came back to play Vanilla with me, and I was showing them private servers for the first time. And we went Alliance, and my buddy Jose went Human Rogue, I went Night Elf Hunter, my buddy Jim came back and played Warrior, and we're all leveling up together in Discord, just having, honestly, the time of our fucking lives. Like, these servers though, like, I mean, it was that classic like vanilla WoW fresh type of thing where like you have to literally sit on top of the spawns, like, and it was dynamic respawns, but like in the same location. Like I still remember launch vividly. Like mob would die and you'd sit there with like a scroll wheel macro, and like 3 seconds later it would come back, and there's multiple people on every single spawn point for the mobs, and it was just like that for a while. And there was also like disconnects too, like crazy, and sometimes you would get disconnected and you couldn't get back on for whatever reason, and you get stuck in a big queue. And I remember Grizzly somehow figured out a way to not get disconnected and to find a way to stay permanently online. So I just remember playing Elysium at the time and going like, oh my god, dude, these Grizzly guys are giga chads, like they're so good at this game, like how are they so successful like as a whole. And like, anyway, but I'm pretty sure Ompi and all them were probably playing already at this time. North is playing, and some of those homies. But anyway, like I played the first Elysium, and then I felt like we got unlucky, and my buddies like stopped playing shortly after, and Elysium announced that they were going to launch another realm, Zethker. So like a second one. This was like a week or two after the first Elysium. And that one I was like, yo, I think I'm just going to restart, and I'm going to really sweat and try super fucking hard to level up super fast. And like, I know my route now, and like I'm locked in for this. So that was like the first fresh that I really like trained for. And I was one of the first people to 60. And like, I just had such a good time on that server. I pretty much played a Night Elf Hunter and immediately went into Mardon at 60 and just stayed there the whole time until I had enough for Epic Mount. Like, I was one of the first hunters to 60 on there. I was probably like the 10th player to 60 overall. And yeah, it was just a really fun server for me. And I feel like I, built a lot of the relationships that I still have to this day from Elysium. I was in S-Fans Guild for a bit. I was played with this dude named Wes as well. I'm kind of blanking on the guild names now, though. I feel like it was Vanguard. That's right, Vanguard on Zethker. And then we ended up switching guilds later. But anyway, like, this shit's probably not that interesting to you guys, but like the vibes during Elysium, this is what I want to drill in. This is way before Classic was even announced. There was no Classic WoW back then. There was the Vanilla WoW private server scene, and it was good, man. The content was getting better. More people were playing. It felt like we were doing this, and we were like really like accomplishing something. And probably all things considered, this is when I was just like most locked in with the game and just like loving it, right? I was starting to make guides and stuff during Elysium, and there was no views to get on the guides back then. Nobody really cared, bro. I remember if you got 10k views on a video back then, you were like stoked out of your mind. Like, you were like a giga chad. Like, and they had this Reddit back then called WoW servers, and WoW servers was like, that was the shit. Like that's where everyone posted and watched, and people did stream back then, but it would go in ban waves, so like people would stream, they get a couple viewers here and there, whether it's Lavos or Alex or whatever, right? Then big ban wave would come out. Oh shit, man, back to the drawing board, time to make a new account and just stream. And people were streaming on other platforms to try to dodge it. There's this kind of just underground like pirate vibe like going on, and I don't know, just all of it was cool as fuck, man. I loved all of it. I learned about the culture of wanting fresh, and what the cyclical nature of this game, and kind of redefining how to play WoW in my mind, and starting to think of it as like a giant game of like Dota or a MOBA or something like that. Like, it's just a different approach, right? And yeah, just fall in love with the game and making a ton of guides and stuff like that. And then all my guides got copyright struck, and I had to shift gears because I couldn't use footage anymore. And some of you guys might remember this. And that's when I switched over to the PowerPoint style guides. So I started coming out with tons of private server guides based on all the mechanics on private servers. And for those of you who played these private servers, like, dude, it wasn't strictly worse than Classic. Like the sit procking stuff, like front shredding, like there's a lot of like extra mechanics and kind of finesse, the wreck bombs and stuff that you would have. Like, you could literally just like run around with a wreck bomb like saved up and just go one tap somebody. Like, it was a different meta. It was different gravy, and I kind of liked it looking back on it. Like, just the extra weirdo finesse you would have when it comes to the game. But anyway, Northdale, I don't know if this is right. Help me out in the comments if this is right or wrong. But Northdale server now live August 2017. It came out that even Northdale came out before Classic was announced. That's crazy to me. This is another thing, by the way, that this actually like almost made me tear up, to be honest, and I did not plan this at all. But I was trying to get more information, so I typed in, yes, provide more details on all these servers and noteworthy content creators, because I was trying to remember who I was watching at the time, right? And notable content creators and their impacts: Dodgy, Alex, Elysium drama gets its own footnote. Stay safe. S-Fan. And motherfucking Cargo's your boy, dude. I don't have much. I'm not the funniest dude. I'm not the most handsome dude. I'm not the best creator, honestly. But I do love this game, and I hope you guys know that, and you can sense that that's real and true. Created detailed class guides and vanilla content. Yeah, no, it's just a footnote on a ChatGPT response, but I'm not a big creator compared to a lot of these guys. I barely scratched the surface of 100K one time on subs, and then it went down, you know? Like, the fact that I somehow finessed the spot on here, being a smaller creator, is kind of crazy to me, man. And I appreciate that. It makes me feel like all my efforts had some kind of, you know, impact on my favorite game. Asmongold, Tips out. I still remember Tips hitting me up, like, you know, when he was just trying to go full time with this, and he started his Patreon. He was asking for support. I remember when Stay Safe went full time with this shit too. Like, he was working at like a rehab clinic or some shit, and like he was like, you know, trying to get enough subs saved up to like make the plunge. And now, you know, now look at these guys, ultra successful and all that type of stuff, right? Mad Seasons on there too. But yeah, like, I don't like. Here we go. Why did Northdale server launch? Or okay, did the Northdale Vanilla WoW server launch before Classic WoW was announced? Let's see. No, Northdale launched after WoW Classic was announced at BlizzCon 2017, November 3rd, 4th. That's what I thought, man. So this is actually wrong. That was what ChatGPT told me, that it launched August 2017, and we know the announcement was November 2017. So that makes sense, bro. Like, Northdale was hyped too, but it was different already because now we were legitimized. Now people were entering the space, and it wasn't an underdog community. It wasn't grassroots. It was, I mean, it was announced. It was official. So people, the vibe changes, and it's the same thing with hardcore. It's the same thing with everything, right? Like, once things catches on and it's official, the vibe changes and you never get it back. So already it's kind of going mainstream, and already the vibes are permanently different. Just even with Northdale, but it was still hype. It was a great server, awesome server. You know, it had huge pop, and because Classic was on the horizon, people were trying hard. They were ranking, and a lot of the people that you saw were unsuccessful on Northdale ended up being successful in Classic, right? So anyway, Classic gets announced November 2017. Chronos 3 launches March 2018. I played Horde on Chronos 3. I remember Colburn, Colfax, Colroids, the Druid, got server first on Chronos 3. It was a weird, wonky server. They did all this custom shit with XP rates, so you were getting like more XP in groups, and it was kind of weird, and I like lost steam pretty early, but I did play launch on it. May 15th was the demo for Classic WoW. June 19th was the stress test, and August 26th is when it ended up coming out. And I might be missing a lot of stuff in here. We can maybe do a follow-up, and we can like build on certain parts, so like certain chapters. I do have a lot of information in my brain of like, I feel like I was there for every chapter of the private server like scene, right? Like, there's all this drama on the tail end of Elysium that at this point, because I sort of know how Alex is now, like, I don't know if it was legit or not. I think it was, though. I mean, I'm pretty sure all these private servers have some corrupt shit going on behind the scenes. But you know, there's the Stay Safe drama, the Elysium drama. Elysium kind of fell apart, but they're still going on. Now you have like Turtle WoW, which is just super successful too, and I'm pretty sure it's Shenna and Croge up to, you know, they redeemed themselves and ended up making that server, and now people love that. But this is private server history that I think deserves to be like preserved, and people need to remember like how Classic was formed and who the people were that did a lot for the game. People have asked me on stream before, like, who's on your Mount Rushmore for Classic? And for me, it's not the people that did a lot of stuff after Classic came out. It's the people that did a lot of stuff before Classic came out, that were champions of the game, that lit the torch, that held the flag high and pushed forward and made content and was good community ambassadors and like spread the love for the game back when there really wasn't any money or success or anything to even gain from it. It was just pure vibes and community, and like, you know, falling in love with this game that felt so fresh because we hadn't played it since we were little kids again for the first time. You know, I'm at the point in my life right now that like I want to love this game. I want to be able to dive in and play it and enjoy it and appreciate it like I once did, but I think I'm fully DR'd with it. You know, I can play it little bits here and there and like enjoy it, and it's fun, but you know, when I think back here, when I think back Nost and Chronos days, the burning passion I felt, and still being kind of noob, like not I think that's part of it, you know. We just played the hell out of this game. We know like almost everything in this game, every item, you know, every encounter, all this, that, you know, that energy, that feeling of being a student of the game, so good. We'll never get it back. But yeah, let me know what you guys think below. Just a random video. Let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, share it, you know, whatever, man. Thanks for all the support over the years. I appreciate it.